We've got some breaking news from the world of Hollywood now. Reports are from Ray Liotta's publicist that the actor has died at the age of 67. He's best known for his role as Henry Hill in Goodfellas, where he starred alongside Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. He's also known for other iconic roles in Field of Dreams. Liotta was in the middle of a career resurgence, appearing in other films, including The Many Saints of Newark and Marriage Story. Liotta was shooting a movie in the Dominican Republic when he died. Ray Liotta, 67. And joining me now with more is Richard Crouse. Richard, what a shock.
This is such sad news. As you just said, Ray Liotta gone at the age of 67. And it was in the middle of what can only be described as a career renaissance. He was doing really interesting work in interesting movies. He was back on television. Things were all pointed up. He was scheduled or engaged to be married very soon. So this is obviously something sudden, something unforeseen, and it's very sad. He was a very talented actor.
And again, reports are that he died in his sleep. He was in the Dominican Republic shooting a film called Dangerous Waters. And I was just reading about him very quickly, Richard, and he described himself as a homebody, but he still loved, obviously, being an actor. Tell us about his roles and how he'll be remembered.
Well, I met him a number of times. I interviewed him several times for various projects. And the image that you have of him, I think, is probably largely formed by movies like Goodfellas and some of the other films that he made where he played kind of rougher, maniacal kind of characters. But he wasn't like that when you met him. He had those piercing blue eyes that never broke from you. He looked you directly in the eye. He spoke to you in a way that was much friendlier and much more approachable than you would imagine from the films that he had made. It's funny, I have a quote here from him where he says, not a day goes by that I don't hear somebody mention Goodfellas. Unless I stay home all night, someone's going to mention it to me. It has defined who I am in a sense. And it did. For a long time, he only took on characters that were heightened in that way. But he also, and if you want to look at some of the other films that he made, smaller films that really showcased his acting talent and that really gave audiences a different side of him rather than playing, most famously, Henry Hill in Goodfellas, or the character that he played in Something Wild, his first film, which really kind of set the template for a lot of the work that he did afterwards as someone very intense, very over the top, very heightened.
Richard, again, as you say, a renaissance in his career. He kind of went away for a while, faded into the background, and then we saw him again. Do you know anything about his health? Do you know, even in your interviews with him, was he battling something? Was he okay?
I've heard nothing. I've heard nothing. I certainly didn't get a sense of that in any of my interactions with him, and I've heard nothing. I would assume that we will, at some point, find out what happened here. But again, I'm just today left with a sense of sadness. 67 does not feel like an age at which we should lose someone who seemed to be so vibrant, who seemed to be so involved in his work. I mean, if we just look at the titles of the films that he's been working on, The Many Saints of Newark, the Academy Award nominated Marriage Story, a movie called No Sudden Move. He had just finished a movie with Elizabeth Banks called Cocaine Bear. He was working to star in another movie called The Substance with Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. He starred in a television show called Blackbird with Taron Egerton from Rocket Man. So here's a guy who was, by all accounts, enjoying this resurgence, this renaissance in his career, and to have it ripped away like this so unexpectedly is tremendously sad.
Indeed, what a loss. Richard Crouse, thanks so much. We'll take a short break and be right back.